Good week for yours truly last week in the NFLs. We cashed a 5% play on the Lions and a 4% play on the Bills. Now 22-12 last 34 NFL selections, but it's a new week. And let's see if we can keep it rolling as we've got 3 games on Saturday, only 9 on Sunday, but then 3 more games on Monday, Christmas Day. Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to the Power 5. I am, of course, the appropriately named Bryan Power, here today to talk NFL Week 16 with you, where the top 4 teams in the league in terms of point differential will all be matched up in 2 high-profile showdowns. We've got Dallas traveling to Miami Sunday, and then on Monday night, Baltimore travels to San Francisco. We got buy low, sell high this week, as we always do. A 19-4 trend in that section you're going to want to stay tuned to listen to. And for our power play of the week, I am focused on a total. We'll get to all of that and more momentarily, but as first we start by bringing up the WagerTalk.com odds screen to see how the market is moving. All of these numbers current as of Friday morning. Atlanta out to a 2.5-point home favorite over Indianapolis. Of course, the big story there, Desmond Ridder benched for the second and probably final time by head coach Arthur Smith. It will be Taylor Heineke going for the Falcons against the Colts. Both of those teams alive in their respective division races. Cleveland-Houston, that line has jumped the fence due to Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud being out. The Browns, now as high as -3 at some shops on the road as Joe Flacco gets his 4th straight start. Seattle, off its big win Monday night over the Eagles, they're up to -3.5 at Tennessee. That could be a sell-high spot on the Seahawks. Biggest line move so far this week is in Tampa Bay, where the Bucs host Jacksonville, battle of Floridian teams. Home team out to -3 after they opened +2.5. I don't know if I understand why, quite frankly. Obviously, maybe that initial line was too high on Jacksonville, but they did move the ball against Baltimore Sunday. They just couldn't score. 6 drives inside the Ravens' 40-yard line, netted 3, count them 3 total points, but I don't think Tampa Bay should necessarily be laying 3 now to the Jaguars. How about a total? I said we're going to have a total in our Power Play of the Week segment. Well, here's another one that we need to talk about. Sunday night, bettors like the under with the Patriots taking on the Broncos. The number opened 36 down to 34.5. What better way to celebrate the night before Christmas than by sweating an under where the 2 teams cannot combine for 5 touchdowns. Okay, let's now move to our sell high and buy low segment. As always, I've got 2 games for you in this section, but in this case, a little different. Both teams I'm looking to fade are sell high teams. One of their opponents, the ultimate buy low spot. And let's start there. Saturday night, where the Bills are double-digit road favorites against the Chargers. Now, I understand all of you watching do not want to bet the Chargers after they were just humiliated 63-21 last week by the Raiders. But Brandon Staley's been fired. The team's off a mini bye. And here's the trend I teased earlier. Over the last 20 seasons, teams that lost the previous week by 35 or more points and are getting double digits, those teams have gone a remarkable 19-4-1 against the spread. Of course, the Chargers, as I said, are getting double digits. That number currently 12.5. So the Chargers, to me, are the ultimate buy low team this week. Plus the Bills, they're in a sell high spot after last week's dominating performance at home against the Cowboys. I like and respect the Bills. If you've been watching WagerTalk TV, you probably recall last month, amidst a losing streak, I said Buffalo was still a top 5 team in the NFL. But they are 0-6 against the spread the last 6 times they've been installed as a double-digit road favorite. And don't forget, gang, they lost outright at New England earlier this season. I bring that up not just because of the spread we're talking about here with Bills-Chargers, but the Bills are going to get their shot at revenge against the Pats next week. So in what could be a look-ahead spot for the Bills, I would sell on them and, yes, hold my nose and buy on the Chargers, taking those double digits. Okay, another team to sell high on besides Buffalo is Detroit this week. Lions, they were the 5% play for me last Saturday night at home versus Denver. Felt it was a great spot for them to get back on track. Not to mention, I loved the idea of fading a fraudulent Broncos team that had been experiencing plenty of turnover luck recently. This week, though, the Lions back on the road for the first of 2 games against division rival Minnesota in these final 3 weeks. It's still indoors, obviously, but Jared Goff and the Lions offense just don't seem to be the same on the road, do they? Also, Detroit, 1-3 ATS in division games thus far. Remember, they were blown out at home by Green Bay on Thanksgiving, and they could have lost twice to lowly Chicago. Going back to week 7, the Lions defense has been among the worst in the league in terms of EPA per play. Minnesota, who virtually every game ends up close when the Vikings are involved. We know that. Last week, they let a 17-3 lead slip away in Cincy. They're the more desperate team this week at 7-7. I would look to take the points here in a sell high spot on the Lions. Okay, let me know which teams you are looking to sell high and buy low on for NFL Week 16. And while you're at it, go ahead and be so kind to smash that like button. Give the Power 5 a thumbs up. And if you already haven't done so, how about subscribing to the WagerTalk YouTube channel so you didn't miss any of our exclusive sports betting content. We've got you covered with game previews for every NFL Week 16 matchup. All right, stat of the week is up next. Did you know the Ravens have been ahead going into the fourth quarter in all but one game this season? It was the one against the Rams, which they came back and won in overtime. And let's dig a little deeper on this Ravens team, shall we? In NFL history, only 2 teams have spent less actual game time trailing through 14 weeks of the regular season. Those 2 teams, you ask? The 72 Dolphins and the 07 Patriots. Those 2 teams, of course, combined for 0 regular season losses. The only 2 teams to complete perfect regular seasons in league history. The Ravens have 3 losses, but this stat says they're better. And woo boy, this week the Ravens are 5.5-point underdogs to the 49ers. I know everyone, myself included, considers the Niners the best team in the league, but Baltimore, it's tough to look past their incredible ATS run as an underdog. 19-5 the last 24 times getting points. And they're 19-1 straight up their last 20 games against the NFC. This should be a great showdown Monday night, a potential Super Bowl preview. And something else to consider is that each of the last 7 Monday Night Football games have seen the underdog win outright. That's 7 straight weeks. And yes, Baltimore-San Francisco is the standalone game Christmas night. Okay, before we get to the power play of the week, let's talk about what's going on this weekend at WagerTalk.com. Already mentioned I'm on a 22-12 run in the NFL going back to early November. Well, you can get my entire card for this weekend, currently 5 plays, for just $29. Yes, just $29. And if you want the rest of the season, all the way through the Super Bowl, I got good news for you. Is we're currently offering a special at WagerTalk where you get the final 3 weeks of the regular season and the entirety of the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, for just $175. No coupon code is needed. Just head on over to my page, wt.buzz/BP, and you can pick it up there. Oh, by the way, I closed out last season with back-to-back 5% wins on Kansas City in both the AFC Championship and Super Bowl. Power play of the week, it's going to be over 37.5 for Packers-Panthers. Yes, an over involving Bryce Young. Why not? For what it's worth, the market agrees with me here. Number open 36.5. Remember, the Panthers have played 2 of their last 3 games in almost monsoon-like conditions. So the fact they haven't been scoring a lot, I'm not that concerned. Why am I not that concerned? Well, because the Packers defense has been lousy. 29th in DVOA. Last week, they made Baker Mayfield actually look like a guy who deserved to be drafted number 1 overall. Gave up 34 points to the Bucs and 7.5 yards per play. Wow. Now, do I think Young and the Panthers will replicate those numbers? No, I don't, quite frankly. However, they won't need to because Jordan Love and the Packers offense has scored at least 20 in each of the last 5 games. I expect them to easily exceed that number here. And if that's the case, we should end up needing around 14 from Carolina, which seems doable given the current state of Joe Barry's defense. Take the over 37.5 for Packers-Panthers this week. Once again, a very happy holiday to you and yours. You can find me on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Bryan Power _wins. And until next time, let's cash some tickets.